One very common activity when creating with rope is deciding what you're going to do when two ropes cross each other. And it's really quite simple. You have a few very simple choices that you can use when doing this, and by understanding those choices, you can go create some of your own patterns using rope. The real question is, what do I want to have happen when these two ropes cross each other? Do I want the rope to be able to move freely next to the other rope, very simply like this? Or do I want that rope to be locked in place? If I want the rope to move freely, I simply don't connect them. That's not a big deal. If I want the rope to come back the direction that it came from, that's also not a big deal. I'll just reach under the rope and the crossing rope, and I'll pull the new rope back down the opposite direction like this and have it come back down. But again, it's still freely moving like this. Now, let's say that I want to have that rope actually be locked down and not be able to move quite as easily. To create a node so that where the ropes cross, they will tend to stay in that location. Well, what you'll do is simply some things that we've already seen before. Like, for example, if I wanted this rope to continue moving on in that direction, but I wanted it to be locked in place, I would employ a munter hitch. So to tie a munter hitch from this point, it's over, under, over, under. It's already over, so now I'm going to go under. I give myself a little slack to work with. Then I go over, and then I go under again, like that. And I make sure that these cords are running like this, so they kind of grab themselves, and then I continue running my rope forward. Now normally we'd have a much longer piece running off to do whatever we're going to do with it. But you can see what this does now is now that's in place, it doesn't tend to slide nearly as well. Now, the munter hitch is also what you want, not only if you want that rope to go forward this direction, but also if you're going to want that rope to go any direction from directly forward to, something like this. All you're going to do is just make the munter hitch just as you've done before, but if I wanted this tail to go this direction, I would simply go that direction with it. I would tie the same knot. So if you're planning on taking the rope in a different direction when you hit a crossing rope, you'll still use a munter hitch if it's moving forward. You're just going to have to choose which direction to make that munter hitch, and here's the trick for that. So let's say that I have my rope coming to the crossing line like this, and I know that I want it to go that direction. Well, I will reach under the crossing line on the same side that I want it to go on, and I will pull it under, and then I will cross, and then I will go under again. Now what happens is when I have my rope go this direction, it tends to close that munter hitch even tighter and grip tighter. That's called a closed munter. Whereas if we chose this same effect, if we were planning on going this direction, you could see that the knot tends to open a bit more. So that's an open munter. It's got less of a grip. So in this case, if I wanted that rope to run that direction, again, I would reach under the crossing rope on the same side that I want the rope to run in, hook the line, pull it underneath, cross the incoming line, and then go under again. Now, if I'm going straight forward, there's no difference there. It's just another munter hitch, and I can make either direction depending on the symmetry that I want when I'm tying. But this is very helpful if I am now coming this direction because it tends to close that munter hitch more. So the basic rule is if you're wanting the rope to move forward from the point where you're crossing the ropes, you're going to use a munter hitch, and you're just going to pick which side you tie it onto depending on which direction you want that tail end to move, moving away from the munter hitch. Now, if you want to go immediately to the right or immediately to the left, that is almost the same. Let's just pull this rope down here like this. Now, this isn't going to be heavily locked, but it is going to allow you to bring the rope in, come under, and then cross itself, and then have the rope move any from here to maybe here. Now, it's just going to be a cross. It's just a twist here. So this is now just basically a twist, but you can see it's moving from the same thing that was a munter hitch over to something that is simply a twist. So in this case, if I'm wanting the rope to come backwards, I'm going to, when crossing my lines, I'm going to run the rope on the opposite side of the direction I want it to go. So if I want the rope to go this way at the end, I'm going to go under the rope on the opposite side and then lay it over top. And then that will run anywhere from here to here. Reverse, same deal. Under and crossing that way. And that will let me go from here to here. Now let's say I want it to come straight back, but I don't want to have something so soft as that. I want it to lock on. Well, here is a special case where we're going to start the same way we would start a munter hitch. I'm going to give myself a little more space to work. So we cross over, we go underneath, but now we come back. So I rearranged my ropes a little bit there so they're nice and flat. Now we come back under like this. I'm going to organize those cords a little bit more so it's easier to see what's happening here. I'm going to separate them so it's a little clear. So you wouldn't leave it like this if you were actually tying it, but what's happening is this rope's coming in, going under the line, over top of itself, under the line, and then back through that same bite. Now that we've tightened this up, you can see this is really nothing more than a lark's head that you've tied on to the crossing line. The name of this is the cow hitch. And now you have a piece of rope that's relatively well clamped on to the crossing line and it's going back down the direction it came from. So obviously if this line was a lot longer, we could then go do something else with it, perhaps mirroring what we had done on this side over here. So these are the three basic things you need to understand, and they're all simple extensions of each other. So if we go from the simplest case, freely moving crossing, freely moving, returning, somewhat freely moving, but still a little bit of a grip there, going back down but at an angle. Just change sides if you'd like to go to the other angle and come down anywhere over here. Then if you'd like to go forward, it's simply an extension of that. You're moving it up like this, and now you can move anywhere from straight forward to over here, if you want to keep the closed munter. And had we wanted to go the other direction, crossing and under, and then anywhere over here is fair game. Like that. And now you can see with this simple evolution of the same kind of motion, we can choose which direction we're going to want our tail to run as we're trying to tie some kind of brand new tie. We want to achieve something interesting with our partner, something we haven't seen before, so we can simply invent using these kinds of techniques. My name's Lazarus Redmayne, this is TheDutchie.com. If you learned a little something, please consider supporting us at patreon.com/TheDutchie.